For centuries, Rome was celebrated as the pinnacle of civilization, the empire that brought law, architecture, and culture to the ancient world. But behind every marble column and golden triumph, there were chains. For every senator, there were 100 slaves. And for every story of Roman glory, there is one of silent suffering erased, forgotten, and buried in the dust of history. This is the dark truth about Roman slavery, the reality history tried to hide. Rome's greatness was built on bondage. At its peak, 1 in every 3 people within the city of Rome was enslaved. That's nearly 1 million souls forced into servitude not by birthright, but by conquest. Rome's armies stretched from Britain to Egypt, capturing men, women, and children, turning the defeated into property. To be conquered by Rome often meant a fate worse than death. Your name stripped, your body branded, your language forbidden. And yet, without them, the slaves' Rome would have collapsed. They were the invisible machine behind the empire's rise. In the heart of Rome stood the Forum Venalium, the slave market. Imagine the scene. Dozens of men and women displayed on platforms, their skin oiled to hide scars, their teeth inspected like livestock. Each wore a placard, a titulus, listing their origin, skills, and obedience level. A child could be sold for a few silver coins, a Greek tutor for a fortune, a gladiator for entertainment, blood, and death. Buyers came from every class: farmers, merchants, even priests. To own a slave was to own status, and Rome's entire social pyramid depended on it. Not all slaves were equal, but none were free. Some worked in the lavish villas of the elite, serving banquets, bathing their masters, or reading to them by candlelight. Others were condemned to the mind's dark caverns where air was poison and light was a memory. There, men and women worked until their lungs collapsed and their bones turned black from exhaustion. The average life expectancy of a mine slave, less than 30 years, often much less. Those on farms chained at night, whipped at dawn, built the agricultural wealth that fed Rome's population. They marched across Italy, burning estates, freeing the enslaved, and defying Rome's might. For 2 years, the Roman Republic trembled. And then, vengeance came. Crassus crushed the rebellion, and 6,000 captured slaves were crucified along the Appian Way. A chilling warning that the empire would tolerate no defiance. Their bodies lined the road for miles, crucifixes casting shadows over Rome's promise of order and justice. The Romans justified slavery as natural. Philosophers like Aristotle and Seneca wrote that some people were born to serve. Even the word service slave became synonymous with human tool. But what Rome hid best was how deeply slavery infected its culture. It wasn't just labor, it was psychology. Masters feared rebellion. Slaves feared the whip. Freedom became a privilege so rare that it required divine favor or imperial mercy. Occasionally, a slave could be freed through loyalty or payment, becoming a freedman. But Civinten, they were marked by stigma, their past haunting every title they earned. Nowhere was the cruelty more visible than in the Colosseum. Many of the gladiators who fought and died, there were slaves. Some were criminals, others were prisoners of war, forced to entertain crowds of 50,000 screaming citizens. Each fight was a spectacle of pain and power, Rome's way of reminding its people who ruled and who obeyed. To the masses, it was entertainment. He lived as property. He died as a man. These are the ghosts Rome tried to silence, voices that tell a truer story than any emperor's marble statue. As Rome declined, slavery persisted, shifting, evolving, but never ending. Even as Christianity rose, the institution remained. Freedom was preached, but chains stayed tight. It would take more than the fall of Rome to end the legacy of human bondage. In fact, the Roman model of slavery would echo for centuries in medieval serfdom, in the transatlantic slave trade, and in the modern world's unseen labor systems. Rome's chains still rattle in ways we do not always see. Today, when tourists walk through the ruins of the Forum or gaze upon the Colosseum, they see the splendor, not the suffering. But beneath every arch and pillar lies a truth too long ignored. That empire is built not on stone, but on backs. That civilization's shine often hides cruelty's shadow. Rome's greatness was not only its architecture or philosophy. It was its mastery of human control. The next time you see a Roman statue, flawless, serene, immortal, look closer. Behind that marble perfection once stood a human life that carved, polished, and bled to make it. Rome's beauty came at a price, one paid in silence. And as history repeats itself in new forms, we must ask, have we really escaped the empire of chains? Or have we only changed what they look like? Empires rise on power, but they fall when the voices they silence begin to speak again.